Sarah, you good? Jake, you good?
We are, but likes.
I'm sorry?
Just the likes.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Select Board meeting, Tuesday, October 28th. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I just want to make it clear, the meeting is being videotaped and live streamed. We have one announcement for trick-or-treating will be held Friday, October 21st. Sorry about that. From 5:30 to 7 p.m. around the village area, as always. Trunk or treat in front of the town hall, same time. Participants will gather in front of the firehouse at 7 p.m. for a parade over to Lewis Field for a quick costume contest and bonfire at the pavilion, weather permitting. We have some warrants, fiscal 2026-8, accounts payable, $76,991.56. Fiscal year 2026-8, payroll, $216,858.59. Fiscal year 2026-09, accounts payable, $340,871.49. Fiscal year 2026-9, payroll, $216,730.68. I think that's it for announcements. So we'll get right at number one on the agenda is the Gay Road update. So I see quite a few people here. I'm assuming that's why you're here, for Gay Road. So I'm going to allow our highway liaison to speak first, if you're good with that.
Yeah, sure.
And then after that, if you have questions, we'll take all of you one at a time.
Okay, so,
Oh, let me just say that you'll have up to 2 minutes to speak.
yeah, good to clarify that. So, and originally this update went on for 2 weeks ago, so some of this is aged information and some of it is stuff that wasn't in your packet because it was from like this morning.
Okay?
Okay,
All right, fair
so
enough.
anything that you all know, so I just want to make it clear to my counterparts here that any information that they haven't heard yet is because it probably came from a walk this morning, fundamentally, that I have not had a chance due to other commitments to put in writing and get to them, okay? Or functionally to anybody else. But that said, let me just put that out there, okay? So, first of all, just to give a little bit of background, the week up to this point, one of the challenges with Gay Road has been, I would say, I want to call it continuity, right? So a lot of the planning portion was done either prior to our current highway superintendent or a lot of the point information was by the highway committee that we had. As well, I think, Rich, as you had some direct engagement in kind of like pre-work and some of the like calling the shots on like what to prioritize when and how, okay, prior to the contractor being on site. So I had gotten a call the week of the 10th of October saying, hey, we need to take a look at what's really there versus what the plans were at the Rice Corner Road end of things. There was some concerns that the contractor expressed about prior water management structures and design that was not necessarily called out because it's right on the edge of the original construction plan, but the work was required in order to make the plans farther downhill work. Okay, so it's within the scope of the project because it's the water management is part of that head of the road. Okay, so the update that I had sent to the rest of the select board and asked to put on that Tuesday meeting, but it didn't quite make the deadline, was that I had walked it with Mr. Piappi, with our highway superintendent Kyle Rutkowski, and Bruce Clark, who's our former water superintendent, and well-versed in the fact that water rolls downhill and was responsible for working with both engineers and our highway department on drainage and the like. And there was a number of areas where they really just needed to reroute the water based on making the rest of the plan work. So I asked Kyle to work with our town administrator and KP to get the required rights of passage and any easement paperwork in process to address that portion of the work. Fundamentally, what we were getting for a rough order of magnitude is that work could be completed and stay within the original budget of the project, using the a la carte menu relative to structures, materials, labor, and the like. The update that Kyle had provided regarding the road in terms of timeline was that we were roughly within the next 2 weeks getting the top coat done and the binder in place relative to at least ceasing the work for this particular construction season. The portion that I suspect most of the folks are in the crowd about today is that there's a section right by Merry-Go-Round Farm, right? Where, based on how the contractor was leaving the area, it was impeding access into the driveway at that point in time, right? And there were concerns that the water management in that area was going to result, because some of the pre-work had resulted in water that had historically not landed on the adjacent property, landing on the adjacent property and functionally creating, a wet area that would be prone to mosquitoes and the like, which is ill-advised, especially where there is an actual stream to run through to vacate that water onto, not but probably, I'd say probably 100, 150 yards down from that space with the right structures and direction of the water, okay? I don't have an answer for exactly whether the current plan on paper is going to be the approach taken, which actually takes the water on the opposite side of that road from the driveway in question or not, is going to wind up the way that we get the water down there, but there's a meeting scheduled between the adjacent landowners and myself and Piatti, 7:30 tomorrow morning, to walk that space again, have a more appropriate and measured conversation than an interaction that occurred last night, and try to ensure that we have everybody aligned, that the plans and the intent get met to get that water down the road to the creek it's supposed to go to per the plans, and that the resulting and any other shifts in that road will not make it impossible for the business on that corner to do business, because there's some very specific requirements that they have that are met by the current road, poorly, but met, that depending on the outline of the road and the profile of the road, could potentially impinge on traffic that needs to go functionally, as you could call it, northbound on Gay Road. I don't know the actual compass direction on it, okay? But right now, we really just need to walk that space and ensure that we meet the intent of the plan and that we don't leave that space in a worse position than where we started relative to drain water and pitch of the road impacting the ability of the specific traffic going into and out of that area being able to navigate that corner. So that's where it stands right now. And then the plan would be, once they get through that underlayment work, get that first top course on, or get that first binding layer on for winter, observe how it all behaves, and then put the final top coat on in the spring, which is not necessarily unheard of. There's a lot of times, especially when you're this close to the end of the season, you're better off, rather than rushing through and potentially not identifying how it behaves across, winter and basically water season in the spring, when you get the melt and the runoff and the worst of the worst, give us the opportunity to evaluate if there are any minor adjustments that need to be made in order to meet, you know, the best functionality we can have for the road, both as a road and given the fact it's an impermeable surface that can create runoff. So that's right now where we stand relative to Gay Road.
So I'll open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions, raise your hand, come on up, and come on up.
So Clarence Snyder, 12 Gay Road. Just to add, thank you, Rich. There are, I don't want this to sound like it's just 12 Gay Road, because it's not just 12 Gay Road. Water in that area, well, probably back up a little bit. Once upon a time, when I was sitting in front of you, or in here where you're sitting, I had the opportunity to help draft the first original grant document. So I'm a little familiar with the efforts. So from a water management perspective, Beth, you covered 12 Gay Road well. As you go along Gay Road, you have at Rice Corner, you have work that you're already doing, and quite honestly, you'll have to see through the winter how that works. And again, I'm concerned there when it comes to the new house across the street and how that'll all fill together, because you've had to work and put a driveway in there to be able to get them in and out. So anyway, so there's Rice Corner, certainly 12 Gay, we'll talk about that in the morning. Hopefully we can come to some resolution there. But then when you get down to Kenny, what was Kenny Grimes' house down there in the valley, what we have there is standing water, and you really don't want to have standing water. One of the things in the original drafting and whatnot was to eliminate stagnant water. Again, from a horse perspective, we don't want mosquitoes around any more than we can have mosquitoes around, and again, standing water doesn't help us. Well, I'll stop there for a second. What we're dealing with here is runoff. We're not dealing with a stream or whatever like that, so that when it comes to the environmental perspective, we're dealing with storms, and when storms come, water flows. To that point, if you then go to 26 Gay, there's standing water there today with the new drainage, unfortunately. And so that's, again, it was always there. Hopefully we were to correct it. I'm hopeful by spring that we could do that. I think the other thing is, as far as patience of the residents, we've been as patient as we can be. We try to be. Events like last evening should not have happened, but it happened. And again, I think it's just because we're down on a project that's gone a long time now, and it's frustrating, especially when you have clients coming in from Worcester and wherever, and not being able to get in and out. It's frustrating. And again, we were fortunate. Now on the flip side, we're fortunate to get the hay truck in. We bring a semi in 4 times a year, 75,000 pounds gross weight as far as what's going in there. So we've got to be very careful as we decide what would happen to go across the driveway in the future to make sure we can handle it. And I think that was all that I wanted to do. It's really safety of the road.
Do you mind, we've set a limit
Oh,
of
Joe.
2 minutes, so
No.
I'm gonna cut you off. I tried to give you a little extra, but we're gonna
That's
keep
good,
it
Rich.
at the 2 minutes, so,
Because of that, I put it in writing.
okay.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
I'm sorry, I didn't
So-
want to interrupt you either.
No, thank you.
So if I can address a little bit of this, and this is a long project that's been going on,
Sure.
but the one thing that's probably difficult is Jim Pioppi is mostly a one-man show, right?
We know that.
He's a working machine, and and so he's there from early morning to late at night with very little rest for the neighbors that he happens to be working in front of their house. But the one reason that we picked, or that I was instrumental in picking Jim Pioppi, was I knew our highway department wouldn't have to go there and watch him for cutting corners, doing inferior work. He's a fanatic about that. But his personality isn't the best, right? So, and I understand
Rough
that.
edge.
So, but when the road's fixed and it's all said and done, that's the type of guy that's gonna stand behind what he did. So if they're standing water right now, and I did have a brief conversation with him, one advantage to just putting the base coat on now and then doing the top coat in the spring is you're gonna get a better bond in the warmer weather than in the winter.
Okay.
But secondly, any areas that he might have missed, or like when we have the spring rains, any areas that are still standing water, he will have a chance to fix them before the road is finished. So he'd get a second chance at it. So I'm really confident that Jim Pioppi will do a really good job there when it's done. And I'm sorry that you had a conversation that didn't go real well, but we gotta be a little more patient with him, that I think it will be a great finished product. So that's been my experience with Jim Pioppi and the work that I've
Okay.
seen him do. So
And he's actually looking forward to trying and hit the reset button and have a good conversation tomorrow morning. So I will tell you, in the conversation with him, he wants it to be a very positive and
Yeah.
productive conversation, and I think it will be, because he, like Rich said, I have to agree with him, his heart's in the right place, he does not want to leave anything that he's not proud of in that space, and wants to meet the needs of the neighborhood, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else with concerns that we haven't hit yet? Come on up.
My only concern, and I think Jim Pioppi is a stand-up guy from talking to him and from knowing people that have dealt with him before. I hope he stands behind his word, because he did some major reconstruction to the front of my property and has promised that it would be taken care of. There'd be plantings and mulch and rock on top, made to look very nice, not to detract from the value of the property, so. I'm just hoping that that's the case, and where's the guarantee for that?
Well, I believe he's a man of integrity,
I
right?
do too.
So I think that would be one discussion that you could have tomorrow morning with, Beth, are you gonna hit that area as well?
That's the one right adjacent to the.
Yes,
Right next to the-
12 gate, 14 gate road.
14 gate,
Yeah,
So I know the space that you're talking about, and it's up to you if you want to be part of the conversation or if you want us to just bring it up while we've got it. It's totally up to you.
yeah, you can just bring it up to
So we
him
can,
about
so
that.
Beth will
We'll
address
circle
that.
back around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just make sure that, that he's gonna take care of that. And I'm sure it's gonna happen in the spring.
Right,
It's not gonna happen now, but
right.
my concern.
Well, and at a minimum, I would think, prior to winter, even if it's something that winds up coming up later, we would talk about at least putting
Yeah.
down some winter rise so that it holds everything in place
Yeah.
and doesn't go anywhere. Right.
Okay,
But I'll talk to him about it.
all right, thank you.
For sure.
Thanks, Beth.
So.
Anyone else? Oh, come on up, Don.
John Taft, 2121. Just a quick clarification on you're putting down the base course. Is that from Rice Corner Crossroad to the town line?
So that's a very good question. Don't know yet. And it's gonna depend on where we're running against budget. Right now, we're running within the confines of the budget. And we need to take a look at either bringing somebody else in or having Mr. Piappi go ahead and do the reclamation on that last piece. That's part of the extension portion of that project. We do not have an answer for you for that tonight.
So the reason we did choose Jim Pioppi, he was the lower bid when you didn't incorporate that last section to the town line. And the reason we did that is because our state bid or our town bid for the
Right.
base coat is significantly cheaper than what we could get the contractor for.
Right.
So based on that, it's gonna require a little bit of scheduling with Jim Pioppi and our highway superintendent, and like Beth said, whether that reclamation gets done now, but the goal would be to do both at the same time, because there was some work done in that area where they had some cross culverts, and that does need to be addressed before winter, so that, I think that's your concern, so,
Well, I'm concerned about what's going to happen to the road if the base course isn't down during the course of winter. That's,
oh no, the base will be down for the winter,
For the main portion.
yes.
So.
from the town line to Rice Corner.
The goal is to do it from the town line, so we'll see what happens. Some of it's not determined yet.
One thing I meant to add to the announcements is that tentatively, the 148 chunk that we did the reclamation on is gonna get paved on Saturday. So it's not 100% locked into the contract.
Okay.
But
So
the-
does
there will
everyone-
be- There will be a partial closure, not a partial closure, but there will be.
Just a
work-
detour.
Yeah, there'll be a detour tomorrow in between bus route times, so like starting around probably 10 and closing out around 2, where they're gonna do some pre-work in that space to ensure that they're ready for Saturday if it happens.
So I just want to make it more of a public announcement that Route 148 is scheduled to be paved on Saturday with some detours going up Town Farm Road and some work to happen tomorrow, but hopefully, to me, I don't find the road any worse now than
Than it was
before,
before
so,
they drowned
so
it.
we're going to be in good shape when it's done, so,
You don't really want that edge during cloud
Right,
season though.
so. Anyone else with any questions? All right? I asked too many times, I guess.
Yes, you did. Dave Holcraft, 26 Allen Road. Last meeting here, I asked about the drain pipes. The drain pipes were removed. The road has been widened. We've been in violation with DEP. No one went back to get the proper procedures because you went into the wetlands. We did not have certification or permission to do that. We're not following the blueprint. From what I understand, you're not putting in all the culverts. You did the intersection at Two Gay Road and Rice Corner Road. That wasn't either drains or not even on this blueprint that we paid $140, 100,000, what, 140,000 was it, I think, something like that? So are we in jeopardy of the grant? And who's following the procedures of what's going to be done on this road properly? No one seems to be taking charge of overseeing the work here. You can't allow this contractor to do what he wants. Pulverizing the road, that was not part of the deal either. That seems to be swapping off work here. So I want to know, are we going to get the rest of the culverts in? It's supposed to be 11, I think. I think they're only putting in 2 unless that's changed. And the Conservation Committee should be down there watching what's going on, and that's not happening either. I went down there. The wattles, which keep the dirt from going in the swamps, was thrown in the middle of a standing water. No hay bales. Who's watching this whole project is what I want to know. Beth, can you answer that, for starters? And why are we not following the blueprint, is what I want to know. We seem like we're swapping work off for this and that. And the contractors that came in here bid on putting X number of structures in. And we're not going to do that. So that's not fair to those other contractors.
Dave, if
And it's not fair to us, the town.
Your 2 minutes has expired, so. if
Okay.
Beth wants
Well,
to
someone's got to
respond,
answer those
do
questions.
you care to respond?
I don't care to respond at this time. So, I mean, I engaged in the project less than a month ago. What I can tell you is that they're working towards an end result. The end result is the road reconstructed, the water management improving, not making worse the scenario that we already had with that water. And I can't speak to every other project that's been done in town, but historically speaking, that the quotes on those bids are against the per structure, it's against the amount of material used, it's against the labor. It's charged per the structures used, the amount of material used, and the labor at the, what is it, what's the fair rate verbiage that's in all the quotes? I always get that wrong. Prevailing wage.
Oh, prevailing.
Prevailing wage, okay. So when we're charged for the work, right, all those plans, there's 2 ways you can run it. You can make every little detail a change order, or so long as you stay within the confines of the max that's within the plan, they charge as they go. That's a fairly standard process from what I understand, okay? But I will take that back and find out relative to the rules on the grant
Why'd we pay $140,000 for blueprints if we're not going to follow them, Beth?
So,
Yeah, so what you just said was a bunch of bunk, okay? Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on. Road repairs on lane 21 discussion. Don, do you have anything you want to add to this based on you put in the request?
I did put in the request about a year ago and requested that the work be done in the spring, and I totally understand that our highway department is understaffed and a new staff, and they've done a great job. And so my request is to have that work approved for next spring. With that being said, there's a couple of conditions down there that I think jeopardize the potential damage to the plow trucks that I would like to meet with Kyle and just have him take care of whatever is an unsafe condition for the plows. That's my only
So
input.
I had a chance to speak with Kyle, and he sent us a letter, and I'll read it to you. After a site visit on lane 21, my recommendation is to apply 4 to 6 yards of reground asphalt to the potholes and back drag them with the loader. So he's going to take care of that this year. He wants to do it so there's no damage to the town vehicles plowing.
Okay.
So I believe that will take care of what you need there. The problem with lane 21 is it has asphalt grindings that were put down a couple of years, it was several years ago. I think Herbie did it.
10 years.
So
Right.
the problem with that is it's not like a gravel road. So once you have potholes in a gravel road, you regrade the entire road.
Right.
Or with the asphalt grindings, you can basically add to them on top.
Correct.
So, and that's, and basically he and I spoke about that, and that is his intention, so.
Yep.
And if
I
it-
prefer that he wait until the spring to do that, only because it will bind up better rather than, so the residents paid for and brought in some grindings 2 years ago, and in the first snowstorm, they all ended up, by the intermittent stream, which was not a good situation.
So I think the reality of it is 4 to 6 yards of material this winter, and if they didn't get plowed out, it could be done again in the spring. It's a very, very small amount of material.
Right.
With a very short time frame for the highway department,
Okay.
so.
Again, there's some asphalt paving in front of, must be number 18, which is quite a lip, and I'm afraid that when the plows hit that, he should address that as well.
Okay,
But I'll be glad to meet with him when he comes out.
all right, well, thank you very much. I'm assuming that's it for lane 21, so we're going to move on to article number 3 on the global positioning system, GPS policy, edits discussion. So I want to thank Sarah for putting the time and effort into
Nope,
this.
'cause I didn't do it.
Oh, I thought you did, okay.
I didn't make my edits yet, so
Oh, okay.
don't give me all the thanks yet.
All right,
No, just one thing that I wanted to address, because I was gonna make the edits, but the way that it is I talked to Jacob, and I asked Jacob if he would be willing to be the only person to have access to the GPS. The department heads, obviously, but without a town administrator, I figured, and without us not needing access, that if we did, Jacob would be the person that we went to get access.
so I went through it and I made some edits, just very quick. Wherever it talks about town administrator, I put data security officer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's typically how it's referred to. I again spoke to Jacob, he said he's willing to do the position, and
Yeah.
I thank you for
Yeah,
your
thanks.
cooperation. Everything we ask you to do, you step right up, so thank you.
and then I presume what we'll do is set up profiles that will be for the department heads?
Yeah,
Perfect.
but that way, yeah, we don't have access to town administrator. If we do have, we can readdress it once we get one. But that way, he's just the main contact and make it easy. He's the IT guy too, so I feel like it's, goes hand in hand. That was the only edit, I just didn't have time to make it.
So what's the board's pleasure? Do you want to vote this tonight, or do you want to put it off again?
Well,
I'd
We
kind
can-
of,
we
oh,
can,
go ahead.
we can make the, I'm willing to make the edits and, or have Karen make the edits and send it off to the department heads. I think there's a department head meeting next week, next Thursday, right, Karen? No? The week after? Oh, it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week.
Well, we can
So-
set one, we haven't held one in like 4 months.
Yeah, so maybe we could have one and kind of get everyone's input.
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
So rather than us voting it, I would take the draft to the department heads.
Yeah, yeah, just fix the, where it says town administrator to data security officer and meet with the department heads.
Very good. Don, you still want to come up? Or does that address your,
Yes, that was my understanding, that the draft would go to the department heads for review and comment. Some of the departments don't necessarily always attend the department head meetings, but I wanted to be sure that highway, the police, fire, EMT, and water got copies of those so that they could comment. That's my only. And at one point, I believe, Rich, you asked Ron to look into the protocol and procedures in Belchertown, Sturbridge, and the state police, and I wondered if any of that information will be available as well.
what we got, well, Sturbridge didn't have a policy, and I don't recall them getting back to us on the state police. I don't think we ever received that. So Sarah's the one that's kind of picked the ball up where Ron left off, and that's
Yeah.
why we have what's in front of us this evening.
Yeah, I found a couple others, not in Massachusetts. I found one in California. So I just kind of compiled them all together last meeting and printed sections off and kind of redid it.
I want to be
I
careful.
can get them,
so-
I can get them for you if you'd like, if you want to look at them.
That would be great.
Yeah, yeah.
We did some checking independently in like Belchertown, Sturbridge, and the police in reference to what they do have for policies. That's why I just wanted to include whatever they had in the draft.
Did you say that you received the policies already from the, I'm not sure exactly what you said. Did you say that you checked on it independently and got a copy of them?
I don't have a copy of it, but I have verbal discussion.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. All right, number 4, appoint Global Positioning System Security Officer. I'd entertain a motion to appoint Jacob Gorham.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, number 5, this is all you, Sarah, and I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with the different applicants for grant writers.
Yeah, I
So,
just want to catch you up really quick. Me and Lori did some interviews. We did 2
And thank you, Lori.
interviews. Yeah, and then me and AJ did another interview together. All of the candidates were great, but after talking to Lori, our recommendation is to appoint Lynn Shaw as the grant writer.
all right. So, do you want to skip, and why don't we skip that, and we'll go right into that. So, do I have a motion to appoint?
I'll make the motion to appoint Lynn Shaw.
Okay,
I'll second.
Just quick discussion.
Yeah.
if That's okay.
yeah.
Just in your opinion, what were the deciding factors or strengths that make you recommend that candidate? I'm just curious.
She showed up with a whole list, literally a whole sheet of all of the private companies that do municipal grants. And she was willing to, we talked about the ACO, getting the ACO vehicle. She was more than happy to talk to that, about trying to get that. She mentioned CSX, getting some funds from them, from the railroads. So she was very engaged. She knew what she was talking about. She was more than willing to learn. The ropes of Chapter 90, Lori brought up. We talked about community compact grants. We talked about ADA accommodations to the town hall improvements. And really quick, just a side update, we got our earmark for $25,000 for the town hall improvement from the state. So I'm going through the paperwork right now with Donnie's office to get paperwork necessary so we can get those funds. So we kind of talked about ADA improvements here, talking about what we can do to carpet, what we can do at the annex also. We talked about historical. Obviously, this is a historical building, the annex too. So she understood all of that. She was more than willing to talk to the historical commission. She was more than willing to come in here and talk to the department heads.
When she needs to.
Yeah, so she was more than engaged and willing. Lori and I did tell her that she could work remote until she wanted to, and if she wanted to come in and meet with the department heads, then she could, but we were more than happy to accommodate remote if needed.
I don't have an objection to somebody working remotely.
Yeah,
I would like to see her come in and
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
yeah, and we,
Working on projects.
she wants
But
to,
it sounds
yeah,
like-
she wants
But it
to.
sounds like that's not an issue.
No.
She wants to be in the building, especially in the beginning. to
Yeah, we
meet
said
and
like the
meet
first
all
40
the
hours, like in building, meeting with everybody, meeting with all of them.
That'd be great.
She just said that her only ask was that the department head or whoever she's working up come up with the narrative of what the need is, and then she would transform that into what her language was in
And what
order
the-
to.
and what the
Yeah,
grant
and what the grant
She
language
wants
was.
to know what we want, that way she's not blindly applying for everything and
Yeah.
have us have it be something we don't want.
Yeah, and she straight said no matching grants.
Yep.
So that was a plus for us. We obviously said we were okay with 5%, but no 50%, no 40%. We want, as much
I
money
mean,
as
really,
we
up
can.
to 25% is really
Yeah.
probably okay. As long as it's better than
But
that.
she said she would, discuss with us if
Yeah,
there was
it's
even
even
a
a
match
match.
before she applied,
Yeah.
that way it wasn't a waste of anybody's
Mm.
Time, yeah.
And she has a ton of federal grant experience, not much in the state sector, but she said she's quick to learn, because most of her experience, with Bourne and Petersham has been more federal because they don't qualify for some of the state funds that we do.
Well, here's the other thing. What I'm more concerned about is experience around schedule management, like timeline management.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I don't care whether you work federal or state, you've got deadlines, you've got like all the reporting.
She's like, we asked her what her timeline would be, would she wait up till like right when the grant was due, and she said absolutely not. So she had like 30-plus years of nonprofit grants, municipal grants,
Yeah.
state grant experience. She's well-versed in all of that, so.
Yeah, she was the first female firefighter, so
Ever?
she's,
Yes.
ever, so,
Wow.
yeah, so she
Impressive.
has a lot of,
Yes.
a lot of.
A lot of
her-
connections
Yeah, a
with
lot
that.
of connections with that, a lot of
Yes.
connections with Pete too, and a lot of connections with applying for that kind of grants and getting the equipment, yeah, so,
Very personable, too.
Yes.
She's gonna be an excellent fit.
Great.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
good.
Great.
I just wanted the
yeah,
narrative.
it was,
Forgive me,
yeah,
but-
no, that's okay, yeah, it was great, it was a great interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, well, thank you. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
would you let the department heads know when they can reach out and contact her?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And actually, if we're lucky, if we schedule a department head meeting, maybe she could make that one of the days she comes on site just to meet everybody,
Everybody, yeah,
you know?
Yeah, she said she was available immediately.
yeah, yeah.
all right, great. So, we kind of lost track. Do we have a
Motion
motion?
made and
Yeah.
Okay,
seconded.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's all yours, Sarah.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you for taking the time, Lori and Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7, Brookfield Committee for Performing Arts. Request to use the town hall on Wednesdays between 4 and 8, and performance on 6 PM, December 6th, 2025.
Only concern I have, well, we skipped over the charge. Right? I
Did
don't
I-
think they'd have a committee of one.
Oh, you know
I don't
what?
think it's legal in the state of
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
let me back up, Beth, because I took that out of order with my chicken scratch here. So let's stay in order. At number 6, Jean Lytle, the Committee of Performing Arts Appointment Committee Charge. I had a little discussion with her, but based on what you brought up, Beth, Lori, you had some information on this?
So I didn't
filling a role that we don't necessarily have on the books from a standpoint of employment. You know, it's kind of like now we have a paid, like, well, we don't have one right now, but it counts on an aging director, right? We could have a volunteer doing a purpose for us, but I don't think we can have a committee of one.
So,
That's general
So
law.
I had discussed, unfortunately, I guess, I didn't look this up first. I told Jean she had to make a committee. So the whole purpose of this was she needed to have some sort of committee. So she was a committee member or a town volunteer, with an appointment so that she could legally have a revolving account and touch the town's money. Because other than that, as a private resident, as a rental, using a rental that's upstairs, then she's required to have her own private insurance. She cannot touch money because she wants the money to benefit the town and not herself.
Right.
So she wants the money to flow through me, whereas a resident, she cannot do that. So she needed, I suggested a committee. I did not check to see whether you have a committee of one. So I guess any other way we could do that, as you maybe appoint her the unpaid position of performing art director, liaison, something. But in order for her to be an unpaid town employee, as, all the other committee members are, that way she can legally touch town money. Which is the intent of her charge, where she will have eventual shows upstairs, charge a, nominal fee to come in, which would then come into a revolving account and then be used to purchase show supplies, upgrades for curtains, or whatever else happens upstairs.
So, and I guess, do we have, is there going to be a concern? And I can ask Friday at the, open hours for ADA. I don't know if we can have a town sponsored event up there yet unless, and Jacob, I'm sorry to ask you, are we at the point where are we gonna be at the point by the time she's putting on a performance that people can sit down here and observe what's upstairs?
Should be.
We should be.
So that was obviously the intent as well.
Yeah.
I do have one more potential wrinkle to add, which is that under the ADA, you have to determine whether an essential part of a play is actually witnessing that play, and therefore a remote viewing may be outside of what is essential, at least for that. For a meeting, it wouldn't be, but for something like a live production, being in person may be an essential component.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to check Friday. Friday, they have office hours from, I think it's 10 to 12, I think. I have to go look at my email. But I can ask that question. I don't have a problem like going forward presuming that we're able to. But we do need, sorry, I'm probably loud enough. You probably pick me up on the mic okay anyway.
Or at home.
No, I'd have to work for that one, but, we may just have to verify that we're not gonna step in an accessibility issue with that, because I think it's right on the cusp, and I know I was reading some of the stuff that was associated with what I forwarded to you, Jacob, about getting up to date on the technology, which grateful that we're probably ahead of the power curve on that for our size of community, right? Is that there are some very specific things about like the wheelchair accessibility and certain types of events that we may have to be very careful about. So I'll take it as an action to see if I can schedule my break time to be during the ADA open hours, and if not, I'll probably shoot them an email in advance, and then if I miss it, then hopefully they'll get back to me, so. I don't mind voting her, like, the select board, like, designated liaison for the performing arts, but I do not feel comfortable voting a committee of one.
I would agree, based on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
and based on If,
Or we can table it for until the
well,
next meeting.
time is a factor, so
Okay.
based on that, if we can get
That's
that
the
going, and then I just don't want the lack of the appointment to be what stops it in its tracks, but perhaps the ADA accessibility may be, but we can check
But
on that.
we can check
Right.
on that by Friday,
So if we appoint her this evening, then we can move forward and you report back Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great,
Yep.
All right.
so, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to appoint Jeannie Lintel, our performing art liaison.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so I think I feel comfortable tabling number 7 to wait until you hear back.
Okay, great, thank you.
And,
I just wanted to say something that she did tell me, she came in specifically today to tell me that if you don't approve it tonight, then she's not going to have enough time to be able to have enough practices before the event.
We
I
just
think,
approved it.
I think we
We
can
just-
still,
I know, but I'm saying, but for her to use the town hall, that's what I'm talking about.
but I think we can still allow her to use the
Yeah,
town
we're still
hall.
gonna allow her to use the town hall
Yeah,
on Wednesdays.
Right, I think what
Right?
Karen's saying is we need to vote it, because that was a separate
Yeah.
item. So,
That's
All
what
right.
I'm saying.
so I'll make a motion that we allow for preparation of the hall and rehearsals in the ballroom.
okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
She
Oh,
did have a
I'm
question.
sorry. I didn't see you, Sharon.
Will the use of the town hall, will the assumption be that she can also use the room that Jacob and I are currently leasing?
So I made that motion very explicitly that it was the use of the ballroom. I don't believe that room is considered part of the ballroom.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is that according to the contract that this town signed with Apple Country Radio, it grants the licensee, which is Apple Country Radio, exclusive license to use and occupy that portion of the building.
Yep.
The exceptions are as follows: 24 hours notice ahead of time to me to inspect the same, or in a case of emergency, to make or facilitate any repairs, alterations, additions, or improvements to the licensed premises, or to show the licensed premises to insurance agents, other professional consultants, and future tenants. The reason I'm concerned about this, first of all, a little announcement, I sent you all an email. The antenna is going up on the Town Hall clock tower tomorrow. We got out of,
We're getting off topic, though.
I just wanted to
Okay,
say,
all right.
because it's going up, I'm going to start building out that studio. There will be no room for it to be used as a dressing room or as an area to go into the stage. And the mezzanine, the room above it, has about 75 cartons, mainly CDs and vinyl. So there is no space up there available either to be used as a dressing room or a waiting room to go on stage. So practically, it won't work, and contractually, it will not work either. And the reason I'm concerned about this is because the town has a key to that room, and I don't want the key given out without the permission of the people who are leasing the room, mainly Apple Country Radio.
I think Beth addressed it, but in the motion that it's not the room, it's the,
Okay, I just don't want any
Ballroom,
assumptions
right? So,
made regardless
yeah,
of the,
yeah.
yeah, so,
She can do it without the room, we already talked about that. That, she's not gonna touch that area. There's a little space on the other side of the,
Yeah. this room.
yeah, no, so don't worry about that.
there are two levels, one,
Alright.
the same level and one above. So-
yeah. So moving on, number 8, approve council on aging charge and approve placing an ad for the program coordinator. So I looked at the charge and I thought I was pretty content with it. Do you guys
Yeah,
have
Brenda,
any?
I asked if there was one, so I guess I started the conversation, and then Brenda kind of took it upon herself to create one, yeah. So I just asked if there was one, and she created one, so here we are. But I'm okay with it. And they, I talked to Brenda this afternoon, and they placed the ad, and she asked me if the Council on Aging would be, if we would be okay with the Council on Aging going through the process and then just giving their recommendation to us to hire a director.
Yeah, I'm
I would
good with
presume
it.
that'd be the way that we do it.
Yeah, I said
Yeah,
that was
I'm-
fine with me, so.
yeah.
And I know they posted on Facebook already a couple times, trying to find, a director. When I was in here at lunchtime, there was somebody hopefully putting in an application, so.
Do you have any applicants, Mary Lou?
I think there's one,
There's one. Good.
yeah. I
Great.
think there's one so far.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the charge and get it advertised.
Second. Or if that was a motion, so moved.
All right? Any, so did you, I'll
I don't know,
second
did you
it.
make
I'll
the
second
motion?
it. No, I didn't make the motion. I was waiting for one, but.
So I did, so moved.
Okay, so I'll second it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Number 9, to designate Board of Health agents as Title V agents as special municipal employees. It
Okay.
got back to me that this was done. Did you get any information on that, Maureen? So back in '05, this was actually voted in the town, so it is covered, so we're going to pass over that. Number 10, signed technology contract with an Avery. I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah, we are working on that list, yep. All right, Number 10, signed technology contract with an Avery. So, I did not have a chance to go over the contract at all, and I asked,
Sorry, not
I
to
asked
interrupt.
Jacob
Did
if
Kate,
if it was important that we do this evening, and he thought not. So I would like to table this for our next meeting.
did KP review it? That was my only other question. Has
That's a good
KP
question.
reviewed this yet?
No, I don't know if, I think Ron sent it to him, so I'm gonna say no, because I didn't send it to him, but we can do that, so then we can vote on it next meeting.
Yeah. Can we send it off to KP?
Perfect. Thank you. Number 11, acknowledge fire department's September report. Want to say thank you to Luke Quattroselli, 8 years of service. I've not had a chance to go over this, but it looked like the calls were maybe down a little. Is that based on, in September, down from the previous month? Thank you to the fire department for submitting that report.
I'll go back to your special municipal employee discussion.
Sure.
It says, according to the state, designations must be updated annually, no later than May 28th, 25th.
Mike, did you want to say something like that?
I thought we didn't even approve it until after May 28th this year.
I don't know.
I don't think we asked the town administrator to work on that months ago, and it kind of fell through the cracks. So in checking today,
I talked to him today about it,
What do you say?
and he said he was going to work on it, and I sent him all this information because there is a whole list of, a whole list of positions. I wanted to make sure that he had those and more, and yes, he's going to be working on it. And I was told that they don't expire, but I guess they do then.
Lori?
They do not expire. So the state law says, once a position is designated as having special status, it remains a special municipal employee position unless and until the classification is rescinded. So no, they never expire.
That was right.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Number 12, approve approve select board minutes for 8/13/25 and 9/26/25. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the select board minutes for 8/13/2025 and 9/26/2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Number 13, executive assistant pay rate. Beth, I'm going to ask you to start. And were you
Okay.
able to do the research you,
I was able to do some research.
okay?
I came up with a slightly different number than Lori, but we're in the same general vicinity. So let's start there. All right. Okay, and I apologize I didn't forward the research, but I missed it because I had asked for some help getting some of it, and it was in an email that had gotten buried by spam. So I want to thank Mary Lou for doing some of my homework for me, and I did some of the other homework to make sure that my sheet was in the right neighborhood. So I was coming out with somewhere between like $28.50, $29 an hour being where the comp was, and that was based off of Brimfield, New Braintree, North Brookfield, Wales, Warren, and West Brookfield alone. So I think it didn't include Spencer. The hourly rate that I had for Brimfield was a little different than the $38.06 an hour, which might be something having to do with how I got the information, so.
I have his email, everything that I have here.
Yeah.
I have backups.
Right.
Yeah, that's-
So, but I was coming out in like the $29-ish range, which aligns on the Collins Center, like what you did with the math, doing the rate increase over the years, the backwards calculation. But the flip side is hiring right now, right, you'd be hard pressed to get somebody for what the internal price would be. So I'm not terribly wedded to that 29 an hour, which was what I was gonna come in with, in that if we determine it needs to be something slightly higher, I'm probably not gonna, it's probably not the hill I'm gonna try to die on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you know,
I agree an adjustment is in order,
Yeah,
right?
So based on the short time I've been here, I've reached out to Karen on multiple occasions after hours. I know that she's had some hardship in her family with doctors, and she's taken so very little time off. She could have been entitled to so much more. Based on her dedication, based on the effort that I see she puts in daily. She calls me multiple times a day with questions. I think she's a great employee, so I'm good with the $30 range.
yeah, I am too.
So, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on one second.
I'll make the motion to take Lori's recommendation for the $31 per hour.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Come on up, Tom.
I think it's appropriate to make adjustments to pay rates as needed for a designated position. I do think that you ought to look at not just one position in town, but probably all positions in town, as opposed to picking and choosing certain ones to consider pay raises. We've been behind the curve on COLA. We've been told by each department that you have to level fund every year for 3 years. I think we're falling behind the 8 ball. The only other thing I wanted to say is the executive admin assistant is not a position that's in our bylaws. Just, so if you're thinking about pay rate for that job, then it also needs to be in the bylaws.
Yeah.
So my only comment to that is, when we look at everyone individually, and the problem that I have with it is Karen was the only one that didn't get a raise based on the Collins report. So, no,
There were two.
okay, so it's been brought to my attention that Karen was the one. I didn't realize there was two. So if we need to look at someone else, then that's something. But that's how I can easily make my decision and move forward based on the information that I have. Lori, do you mind coming up?
And I just wanted the bylaw too, I don't know if you saw Lori's email, she says this bylaw should be corrected to reflect the BOS meeting vote from 2021, so I think we should look at it going forward.
Yep,
Yeah.
so that was one of the things in my notes, is
Yeah.
that when I did this for fiscal year '22, for the beginning of the year, every other employee was graded and stepped properly based on the sheet I provided to everybody. It was based on the grade for their position, with the exception of Karen, which took into account, as you saw in my email, that not you all, the original select board that was there at the time, did accept the executive assistant position, but then it was not put into effect when we did the Collins increases. So like I said, if we choose to, as you did, accept the position amount, we do need to fix the bylaw. The other position that did not receive an increase, as I think it was noted in my email, but it might just be noted in my chart, was actually a position that was marked as overpaid at the time, and we chose as a town not to decrease that employee's pay. But they were noted as being overpaid based on the Collins report, so that person did not receive an increase that year.
Okay.
So it's not that another person also didn't receive an increase, they didn't receive a decrease.
Okay. So that's kind of the problem coming in after the fact, right? This
Yes.
is always a revolving door, so it's,
Exactly.
thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
bringing us up to speed on this.
Okay.
Yep, come on up.
I did want to talk a little bit about the point about needing to do a read across, right? So one of the challenges is we budgeted annual town meeting. We are voting some exceptions tonight, okay?
Yes.
I think one of the conversations that needs to happen around this coming budget season is that broader survey and getting it baked into the budgets for next year, because that's the appropriate way to go ahead and do this. I understand making some exceptions under certain circumstances, right? It will put us in a position where we may have to deficit spend on certain lines and then address it at the end of the year. I think we need to acknowledge that, so we may not be able to make that adjustment for everybody at this point in time, and I think we need to be very clear about that. But the flip side is we need to actually make sure that business continues appropriately, so if there are some certain circumstances where we need to consider this, then it's potentially worth doing.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Mary Lou Knight. I just want to clarify that the position Karen holds at the time of the Collins Center report was seen as $2.66 above the regional average. She also did not receive a decrease, but did not receive a pay increase at that time. There were two positions in that same category.
Thank you.
And I think one other thing to note, and we didn't ever wind up going down that road, okay? But at the time, and I think it was something we had committed to the town, and for the sake of continuity, we're probably very grateful we didn't go there. But there was also some talk of if we were gonna have a town administrator to look at lowering the schedule or the hours of the administrative assistant by virtue of the fact that some of that work would get offloaded, but it turns out that it makes more work, not less, because you're trying to get more done. So I think that's the boat that we wound up in. But just understand that some of those decisions were also in the context as, was it gonna stay a full-time position, right? Was the structure gonna stay the same? Is that, a required amount? I will say the other thing, and it's not on the agenda tonight, it's not on the agenda tonight.
If it's not, then
In the level of specificity, but when we get to 16, I think we need to talk a little bit about structure there as well, so.
Okay.
Can I say something? I just wanted to respond to what you said, in Lori's note to the Board of Selectmen, she noted that, I know that the chart that you showed, that's because all the administrative assistants were lumped together as a grade 4, and the Board of Selectmen vote from a previous meeting was not included and corrected to show executive assistant grade 5. so really, I was doing the work, but I was lumped into grade 4, which that's where you got that, was that I was overpaid.
Because we did not have a position, executive assistant grade 4.
We're starting to get, if you'd like to speak again, I've allowed it a couple of times. Do you mind coming up if you would like to speak again?
I don't need to speak.
Okay,
It's all in here.
all right, all right, we're gonna move on.
Did you finish that,
No, we didn't vote it.
So we voted the amount, right? Oh, no, we did not, okay. No,
I
we went
made the
into,
motion.
we went into
And we
discussion, but
seconded,
we didn't
went
vote.
into discussion,
That's
but
right.
we
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
vote.
So all in favor
Aye.
on the $31 an hour, so aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Can I
You're
just
abstaining?
clarify
Yep.
your vote from last week, or when is this
Effective last week.
effective last week?
Yes.
And were you going to take any action on the stipend that I provided you, or no?
No.
Not today.
No, not tonight.
Although I do have a question, why that position's not posted yet?
It is posted.
Is
I
it?
saw it posted.
Oh, is it
Will be
posted?
posted,
Okay.
yes. And we're getting applicants, and I think I have one that might be pretty good, but other than that, we're getting a lot of inexperienced people that are applying, and I decided I'm going to, maybe we can change it up a little bit.
All right, we're gonna move on. All right, number 14.
Did you do, Mr. Porter, did you do the vote? Did you come to?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
I
devoted.
made the motion.
Okay, what's
The vote was taken
The vote
2
was
to
taken
1,
2 to
1
1.
abstain.
Okay.
What's it regarding?
Since the next three items all are employment, item 16 is, would you want to consider taking that out of order since it's a highway structure and manpower discussion?
Don, let me run the meeting if you don't mind. I'm gonna just stay with the structure. We've
Okay.
gone this way, and I want everyone to have a chance to talk, but let's do it under the line item. All right, number 14, request to promote mechanic to foreman mechanic. So I got an email from Kyle, and I'm gonna read it. I, Highway Superintendent Kyle Rakowski, am asking the board to accept my recommendation of the reclassification of one of my full-time employees' job titles from operator to foreman. Within the department's organization breakdown of the chain of command, this title and role is crucial to ensure continuity operations and provide residents with the smoothest transition in my absence. A foreman is expected to handle day-to-day operations within the department, make decisions regarding ongoing projects, receive and react to emergencies professionally, engage in conversations with the public, department heads, town officials, and other government entities professionally and tactfully. So before we go on with the pay, I'd like to take this in a two-pack. So what's the pleasure of the board? Do you want to just wrap it up in one, or do you want to do the promotion and then discuss the pay rate?
So let's divide the topics,
Okay,
and I want to divide the topics
So-
for a very explicit reason.
okay. So why don't you make a motion, and then we'll, if it gets seconded, we'll get into discussion.
So I'll make the motion to promote our operator to foreman.
I'll second that for discussion.
For discussion, okay? So, and then I phrased that very explicitly for a reason.
Yeah.
We do not currently have in our bylaws a mechanic. We
Mhm.
sought an operator with mechanic skills to provide the level of fleet maintenance with internal skills that we've enjoyed historically, okay? I will tell you, in a conversation with the individual, they weren't particularly interested in this time of formally fulfilling the role of foreman.
Are you talking, you spoke with the highway superintendent or the individual?
Both.
Sorry.
Well, I spoke with the individual with the highway superintendent present,
Okay,
so that way, clear, transparent communication. It
okay.
was actually relative to a totally different topic. I guess great minds think alike, because I actually asked if he would be interested in really, since we were having the topic around pay rate and job description and duties and and kind of like the future, like whether it was the future of the fleet and the future of the department, and just having a very like open and congenial conversation. I was looking at the situation saying, if we're gonna do this pay increase, he's taken on small projects, he's acted as the point of contact for those projects. That's the sort of work that you would expect from
From a foreman,
from a
yeah.
foreman, right? So since he was already doing the work, and he has solid leadership skills, great communication skills, great work ethic, right? I could, the list would go on, so, and he said at this point, he didn't necessarily want to formally take that role, okay?
And when was this discussion, just so I can?
Friday, a week, was it last Friday or the Friday the week before? I think it was last Friday, actually.
So it was after the 23rd when this was submitted?
No, it was before the 23rd, so it must have been the Friday before that. Well, so
Okay.
because I think that popped, I was surprised to see that pop up, so, although my weeks start to run together, but it was very recently. So, I was a little confused when it was like literally like days later, and I saw it pop up in my little Outlook on my phone going, wait, I thought we just had that conversation, right? So that's my only concern with it. Like, I see him in, I mean, I have absolutely no objection tonight from a standpoint of fulfilling the role, doing the work, setting the example, training younger operators, all of those things. I would vote Scott Foreman in a heartbeat, okay? I just want to make certain that we're also listening to the
Yeah, but
voice
if
of
he
the
doesn't
customer.
want it, I don't want to give it to him.
Well,
I don't want to sound mean, but like.
So here's what my proposal would be. Let's vote the pay, I made the motion, let's vote it down, okay, pending talking to him about it. But let's
Yeah.
talk about the pay rate from a standpoint of, even as an operator one, he still brings all those things to the table. There's a very broad, I mean, we don't even have max mins in this town. If we say that that's what we want to, if we say we want to pay him foreman salary functionally, based on what he's doing, I'm not going to fight you tonight on it, that's for sure, okay? If in the future we gave him the title, I don't know that it would come with an additional pay increase. But if you wanted it for resume purposes or what have you, depending on how it worked out, we could talk about that, right? So, but that's why I want to sever the two items, is that it's been within, right?
So the one thing I've seen is whether he actually has the title or not, he's still done the foreman position,
Which is
right?
why,
So-
which is
and-
why
and
I'm
then-
not gonna fight on the money,
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
So-
I think we need to be clear, right? And I just think it's important to make sure that we understand that.
So we can
that's what it
table
is.
that portion of it, whether he moves up to foreman or not, and then we can address the second part. So,
Yeah.
so let's, so we'll take the vote on your motion, and I'm a no, so that we just
Okay,
kill it.
and I'm a no.
We get more clarification.
And we'll get clarification.
Because we don't want to promote him if he doesn't want the position. But now the second half of that is the condition of our vehicles down at the highway department. They're all old.
Is that on the agenda?
Well, I guess why I asked about his pay increase was because of his skills on working on the equipment. So
Okay.
I'm going to say that it's in the realm based on the pay issue.
So I'll make a motion that rather than promoting him, that we, what was the rate that we were talking about for it? I think I'm still on board with the $39 an hour.
So as I look at this, Highway Department requests to promote mechanic, I guess we're not gonna talk about that based
Okay.
on,
Because it doesn't say
right?
anything
So,
about his pay.
yeah, okay. So I was prepared to handle the pay under the promotion, but he did not get the promotion, so we're gonna table the pay with the
Okay.
promotion.
Okay.
All right, sorry for, you were right on the money at first when I said you were wrong, so sorry for that.
Okay, fair enough.
All right? So let's move on then.
I was right on accident. I guess sometimes
Yeah,
it's better
yeah.
to be lucky than good.
All right, so Kyle also requested that we hire another full-time worker that he has said that he's met with and was really impressed. Do we have any,
So I'll make a motion that we authorize Kyle to hire, what was it, what's the person's name?
Christopher
Christopher.
Androlowitz?
Yeah.
Do you want this, Beth?
And what was it? It was at 33?
Beth, you want that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint Christopher Androlowitz as a CDL heavy operator at the pay rate of, what was his recommended pay rate?
Kyle had spoke to me verbally of $33 an hour, is that?
It's in here and writing somewhere. I think it is $33 an hour, at $33 an hour.
Yes,
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 16, Beth, that's you, highway structure, manpower discussion.
Okay, two things. One, and I know that the committee went back and forth on this. I know that as a select board, I think we've gone back and forth on this. I think unfortunately Kyle acceded to recommendations to being a structure of like him and basically 3 people down there, right, for full-time and then kind of filling in with part-time. Here's the problem. We've been understaffed now for going on 3 years, solid 3 years of not having even the head count that we were authorized down there. Okay? Problem is that they're not running that much behind their budget despite having been understaffed, right? Because we are paying some higher pay rates than what were originally forecasted. Okay? But bottom line up front is to get the work done, and we now have a huge backlog of work. I think we really need to take a look at going to a 4-person structure. I think we need to start, Lori, we're probably gonna need your help starting to take an eye across certain accounts and seeing if we have any room to do 2 things. One of them be from an operator perspective for the full-time operators, try to get them to 4, okay? And then for snowplow drivers, I had a conversation with Kyle that concerned me that he felt that there was pressure to not have as many people on the roster. Specifically, I think it was your advice, Rich, I'm not quite sure, that having too many people available on call or calling too many people in might drive expense that we can't handle versus having a really deep bench of seasonal people that are just snowplow operators. At least the math that worked when I was doing a lot of seasonal help was that it helped reduce overtime, reduce driver fatigue, and like make it easier to actually meet the expectations of the town. So I just want to make sure Kyle feels empowered to manage his seasonal roster however he sees fit and what he feels is appropriate for his team currently. And I just wanted to make sure that we clearly enunciated that as a group, or if people had different opinions, we had that conversation.
So,
Instead of like us maybe individually going to him, I'd like to just put it on the table and like make a motion that it's really the purview of the highway superintendent to determine the structure of his seasonal workforce where there's not an underlying cost to carrying those additional drivers.
so my point to Kyle was that I would like him to be here for a full year before he starts making recommendation on full-time employees, in addition to what we've had consistently. So he brings a higher level than what we've had recently down there. I've watched him go throughout the different roads in town and take areas of town that have not been addressed for quite some time to bring them right up to par in no time at all. I watched them go down on Gay Road and take care of an immense amount of work. Unfortunately, some of it was not in keeping with what the contractor wanted, right? So,
Or
so
that the plan said.
So the problem with that is, my position for a highway department is not a road construction crew, but a town maintenance crew. So we've not had the maintenance for several years, so, and he's gone through and maintained a lot of the areas of town that hadn't seen maintenance in a lot of years. So that was in one summer. So as we move forward, what I don't want to see happen is that we have so much additional help, and with our roads up to date, that we've pushed our budget to where it probably didn't need to be. So what I would like to see happen is, and I asked Kyle, before we go changing the number of full-time employees, I'd like him to be there a full year. And then he's gone through every season at that point to fully understand what he needs. At no point did I tell him not to hire any additional part-time help. Absolutely not. I would be in favor of part-time help. I use some part-time help based on the cost, right? Like, there's times that he can use them and not. The one statement that I made to Kyle was, and maybe this was taken out of context, but I remember when an 84-year-old man and a 35-year-old guy did all the work in this entire town with a part-time person, and nothing was lacking when that was happening. And there's no more miles of road right now than there was then. So I'm pretty well aware of what can be done with some great employees, and we had some great employees back then. And we've got some really good employees now, so that based on that, we saw what he could do in one summer. Going forward, I think we're going to get everything caught up to date. Come on up, Lori.
So just two quick things. So one, he's on budget, like dead on.
Like dead on, yeah,
with,
dead on. There's like no wiggle room.
No, he's dead on with his full-time wages, and that's with the higher paid employees right now. He's at 28% spent, which is, everyone should be at like 27.8, and he's at 28. It looks like he's overspent in seasonal workers, which is actually due to some confusion with Kyle having this being his first year doing big grants. The money should have actually been billed to Chapter 90, it's job number, so I'm going to shuffle that all around, and then he'll be back under budget. The one thing we do want to watch when, instead of hiring like another full-time worker and hiring a part-time worker, which we've done in the past, is if we hire someone with the intent of them being a part-time worker, and then all of a sudden we get really busy, if these people start exceeding the 19 hours a week consistently, now the town is, running at risk of, we should have put this person on full-time, we should be offering them and taking out retirement instead of OBRA, we have to offer them insurance. So it's like, it's a minimum of so many weeks at a time, and then they're considered full-time. So if, they do more hours due to winter, we have a problem.
So that's another reason to have more of the part-time staff.
Deeper bench.
Absolutely.
Right, so.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with that.
The other structural issue we have, and it is a budget issue as well, right? And I tell you what, one of my biggest regrets ever at town meeting was I got caught flat-footed when the townspeople voted in support of keeping all the hours for the grant writer and didn't vote in support of keeping all of the hours for the highway secretary. I don't know how many years we fought to expand that position, because that's the time required to do the work, okay? And right now, we're losing half a Kyle because we don't have enough hours in that office to handle the burden of the paperwork that virtually didn't exist during that period of time that you're talking about, where the 84-year-old and the 34-year-old did all the roads. Like,
No, that's not true. The
not as
difference is, Alan Martell's wife did the paperwork.
For
and
free.
For free, and never, not only did she do the the work that was required, the payroll, like, we had one sweet deal with Alan Martell.
But
and
you're
his
not
wife.
going to get that anymore,
No,
right? So
no. No.
and I bet you she was working more than 16 hours a week for the town, probably for free.
Probably not, but,
Okay, so, but anyway, so that's a problem that we do need to figure out, okay?
We have a real problem, because the work is not all getting done, and the work that is getting done right now is not getting done properly. And unfortunately, it's falling back on Kyle due to the limited amount of hours that the clerk is there.
Right,
And
so.
I feel bad
so-
adding to his stress,
So,
but it's happening.
so before we hire a municipal clerk in support of Karen and where we have at least Lois up here to support some, and we did historically get by without, pre-TA, we had just the administrative assistant and a nominal municipal clerk, right? Before we even consider entertaining getting additional hours up here, I think we have to seriously consider properly supporting the highway department administratively so that we can reduce the rework burden, identify potentially some of the training gaps, get some of that resolved, because it's really hard when someone comes in one day a week to retain everything that you need to know, because it's a way more complicated job than anybody would expect that it is, right? And just see what we need to do in order to get that work done for them.
The new grant writer is going to alleviate her the burden of the Chapter 90 and the rest of the highway grants, which will be helpful.
Okay, that'll help a bit,
That will help a lot.
right?
So that should reduce at least a few hours a week for her.
Yeah, so, but it's gonna be a struggle for a minute, right, the way it's currently set up.
Can I just,
come on up.
just for a second?
But relative to the highway,
Yes. just,
okay.
oy. Jeff Clark, 101 Brunel Avenue. I do want to second Beth's comment about the town meeting, because, again, maybe it was just through Kyle's inexperience, but he was the one who stood up and said that there should be fewer hours for that individual. And I think, in hindsight, all of us that were on should have pushed back harder on that. So we need to remember that in the future, when these things happen. And again, I was caught flat-footed, and so I apologize for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve, I didn't see your arm behind the pole there. Come on up.
Yeah, I suppose on this topic, there have been some projects that the Highway Department has been tasked with that do have some overlap with conservation, Wetlands Protection Act, doing work in wetlands and such. And I believe that there really hasn't been a dedicated resource to assist with the permitting process or the application process with that. I think a highway administrative assistant would be more appropriate for that type of work as opposed to the superintendent. And we want to work with them. The Conservation Commission wants to work with the highway department, but given that they're currently understaffed in an administrative perspective or administrative assistant perspective, I think we're missing this opportunity to make sure that we're being compliant and we're doing things appropriately on both sides. We don't want to add any administrative
point.
burden.
Yeah, yeah.
We just want to do things the right way, and we want to work with them.
Sure,
That's it.
good point, thank you. Yes, you may.
Dave Holcraft. If you check with the other towns, I think, what are we doing? 16 hours a week at the highway, I believe. That's 2 full days. Yeah, is that correct? How many hours?
It's 10 hours.
10 hours, okay, 10 hours. So, yeah, okay, we get 10 hours. If you check with the other towns, they're all pretty much about the same in the size town that we have. You also have to remember, currently, right now, we have a new secretary, I call it a secretary at the highway barn. We have a new secretary down there, so we gotta, let her get up to speed here. As far as they had, how many hours we had before? 3 full days, I believe, down there.
24 hours.
24 hours, that's half a week. You can't tell me that we have that much paperwork down at that highway department. We're gonna get spurts where we're gonna get a lot of paperwork, like Gay Road maybe. But on a regular basis, you're not gonna need someone for 2-3 days a week down at that highway department. And what happened back in the old days, I'm gonna tell you what really happened in the old days. It was a political thing. Person started here, they were only working 12 hours, and everything went good. Then they boosted it a little bit more. Then they boosted it a little bit more to take care of this person, and that's where it went to. And then the person was also doing grant writing too, at one point. So we gotta keep that into the mix too. But over the years, it's getting more and more and more and more down there, and I don't, 2 days is 10 hours, 2 days is more than enough, for my opinion, to get it done. But like I said, we get a new secretary, so you gotta cut her a little slack too, till she gets up to speed.
The other thing I want to say is we have more money budgeted than, we have roughly 24, is it 24,000 that we have, or is it 12,000, Lori?
It's only 12.
12
It was low, I think.
for the highway secretary?
Yeah,
So it's 12?
12 and some change.
12,000.
Yeah, okay. So the other problem with it is the current secretary is not able to work more than a 10. Is that accurate, Karen?
Yes, and I believe that she probably is giving her notice, but will stay until they can find someone,
Okay.
if they increase the hours.
Okay.
Right.
So Lori, maybe based on what he has in his budget, maybe we could kind of see if there's anything in there that we could steal from Peter to pay Paul to get a secretary for more hours based on, is there any line item in his budget that we could take from?
Probably not in Kyle's, but we did fully fund the grant writer at 24,000.
And we haven't paid,
And we haven't paid anything. Right now, we're gonna go
Okay.
through, who knows how many months of no town administrator. So we're gonna have some
wiggle
Yeah.
room in wages.
and other
Okay.
lines that we could borrow from to increase or.
So good, as
hire
he's,
someone else.
I do know that the reason that he hired the person was because she didn't have any experience, but she was gonna pick it up in East Brookfield and Brookfield, and they were gonna kind of push things back and forth, but, so, obviously it just didn't work out because she can't work enough hours.
Yeah.
So, I'm fully supportive of him having a secretary, so he's in the office less.
Yeah, so,
And she's absolutely fine with giving her notice, because she has another job, and she's also in East Brookfield.
She can't commit to more.
That's why she
Yeah.
did 3 young children, so that's why she can't
Yeah.
commit to anything.
So you're okay with increasing?
yeah, I'm thinking at least,
I'm thinking at least 16 hours a week to start, because that person wouldn't be doing the grant writing that Lindsay was doing
Yeah,
when she was there.
I was thinking maybe 18, because that would give you 3 6-hour days. And one of the things, from a labor perspective, at least under Mass General Law, so 6-hour shift, you don't have to technically give a full lunch, and it's a 1 15-hour break, so you actually get like 80% of the time.
The problem
of
with
an
that
8-hour
is we
day.
give a free lunch no matter what to everyone, so.
Anyway, but fundamentally speaking, you get almost as many working hours out of a 6-hour day as you do an 8-hour day, okay? So, I mean, I would recommend 8 hours, presuming that it's a 3-by-6 schedule, or a 4-by-4 would be 16 hours. So I would propose it as one of those 2 schedules, depending on, you were saying 16, is that what you said, Rich?
Yeah, I thought that it would be a
So like a
pretty good.
4-by-4, like 10 to 2?
So I guess it's gonna depend on the individual, right? If
Yeah.
someone has a lot of experience at it, they're probably gonna require less hours. If they don't have any experience, they're gonna require more hours until they get up to, it's gonna be a learning curve.
Yeah. So, but, and maybe,
But I would like
maybe
to
it
let-
depends on the workload, right?
But I would also like to let Kyle make that decision as his admin.
Okay, I'm down with that, so, well, why don't we post it as up to 19 hours a week, because,
Yeah, 19 or less.
19 or less, because if we post it specifically 19 or less, whether it's 16 or 18, it doesn't matter from a posting perspective, right?
Mhm.
And then, it's up to Kyle to manage the budget and the hours and to the person and to his needs, right? And it may be that some weeks he only needs somebody in there 2 or 3 days a week, and some weeks he needs them in there 4 days a week, and he can figure that out with the individual, right? So,
All right.
but, so that's the last bit about the structure that I have, based on, you know, the time I've been talking to Kyle and being in and out of the office and seeing what his needs are and trying to listen to what he's got going on.
Do we need to make a motion for the 19 hours or whatever?
No, we have a motion for that.
I know, so do we need to make a motion?
Probably, so.
I assume we would, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we support staffing the highway secretary or highway administrative assistant role to up to 19 hours per week. But not to
Just like
exceed.
town government, it just keeps growing, so I was like, I was like 16, depending on the person, and now it's up to 19, so,
It's
and
more
then
for
it just,
posting purposes. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're only
Yeah.
up for 16,
Yeah.
Rich, I'll take 16 and we'll
Yeah,
deal with
no,
it, right?
I mean,
It's better, you know, I'm not gonna fight over 2 hours.
So my hope is that Kyle, if he needed someone at the 19, that he would use them that week at 19. and
Exactly.
If he didn't, then it just is, yeah.
Right, so, I think we have to trust him or else we hired the wrong guy, so.
So, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
I'm gonna vote to give Kyle what he needs to be successful down there, so.
And that was
Any-
up to, that's Beth's original motion for up to 19.
Up to 19 hours, so that we can post it as an up to 19 hours. And then they can sort that out.
So, okay. All right, any other discussion? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just want to say something really quick. I just want to thank everybody that participated in the Apple Country Fair, and everybody that went. It was my first year going, so I had a great time, and I just want to say everyone did a great job.
How did Brooke like it?
Oh, Brooke was in love. She got to play with the fire truck, got a couple free things, got some
Yeah.
free candy. So it was great. So just wanted to say thanks for everyone that participated and put the event together.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work that goes into
Yeah,
that every
a lot of
year,
work.
so
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah. And they're
Alright.
all volunteers, so.
All right. I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.